can you please share the CV of Professor Adriana? Okay, so Professor Adriana has many experiences, yeah, both in academic and professional fields. Currently, Professor Adriana is a professor at the National School of Political Study and Public Administration in Bucharest, Romania. Yeah, and she has a lot of experience in many scientific research and also become scientific committee in many international conferences. Professor Adriana is also the president, yeah, of the ethics European Business Ethics Network, yeah, Romanian chapter. Yeah, so I think Professor Adriana is the correct keynote speakers, yeah, for today. And also, Professor Adriana is editor-in-chief in Holistica, Journal of Business and Public Administration, and also a guest editors in many international and reputable journal. The curriculum vitae is quite impressive. It's really impressive, not quite, but it's really impressive, Professor Adriana. So I think we will spend hours here having your curriculum vitae. So I think all of the introduction is quite describe, yeah, what your achievement is. Yeah, so I think we can start the international guest lecturer now. Yeah, thank you, Professor Adriana. The time is yours.
Thank you very much for inviting me today. It's a pleasure to be with you. About my CV is not necessarily because of my hard work. It's also a long time I work on it. So don't worry, yours will be longer than mine. At the same age. So I think that our young colleagues has a lot of opportunities right now to have very impressive CVs faster than we have. Again, I want to thank you to Professor Felicia for inviting me today and to be your guest to have a talk with you about global ethics. And I hope that will put on the table a few consideration and question mark that are rising in nowadays in this area. So let's try to share my presentation. Let me know if you see it.
Yes, we have seen it.
Okay. Okay. So also I would I'd like to tell me if there is any problem with the slideshow. Okay.
Well.
Okay. So here are the few things we will try to talk about today. First of all, we will start a little bit talking about globalization, then about ethics, and then about global ethics, and then we will discuss few cases that we faced in the last year and we will face in the near future, in my opinion. And the most interesting part of our meeting, I think, will be Q&A. If there is any question or comment during my presentation, please don't hesitate to raise the hand or open the mic and post it. Okay, so what is globalization? Behind the definition, this phenomena starts to be more and more one of the components of our daily activity and life. The problem is that we integrate and interaction among people, companies, governments from all the countries together and try to put together what we have and, of course, do the things in a better way. But this means in a period of time, moving the business in countries with a cheaper labor force and creating kind of specialization around the world. Then we have also some areas and hubs on research and academics as well. And also there are some groups, and I put them here, that are talking about the future of the world. And you know that there are G27, Bloomberg, Davos conference, and other groups. And why I mention them? Because they are analyzing and discussing the future of the world, the future of globalization. What are the meaning of their decision? What are the main goals? What are what they intend to do with the globalization? So, from this point of view, there are some opinions that globalization looks like a chain for at least part of the world, because not all the country has the same development, and of course the powerful countries will try to take advantage to the less powerful one. And this is a question mark in terms of ethics. On the other hand, if we are talking about globalization, you know that we have a lot of discussion about pollution and resources and damages that economic activities generates towards the environment. So it is good or it is bad to do it in a global way in terms of saving the earth. And we have, as you can see, different areas of globalization. One of the most important is the economic globalization, and then financial, cultural, political, sociological, technological, geographical, ecological, cultural, and we can talk of each if you would like. But in our case, because we belong to economics, I think that the economic globalization is the most important. But economic globalization cannot stay so without being connecting with the financial, with the cultural, with the political, or the other components of globalization. And anyway, they are influencing one to the other. What are, of course, as all processes, globalization has positive effects and negative effects. And among the positive effects, you can see that we have global market, but global market could be as well on the other side, if you want, because global market means tough competition, and not all the companies or not all the countries are able to face it. Competition, which is good, generally is good competition because it stimulates the individuals and the companies to fight for better. But on the other hand, a very tough competition could be a barrier for companies and as well for individuals if they want to accede to some resources. Cultural, the positive effect is that we have the chance to know better each other, and also to can import, if I can say so, good behavior and good practice from other culture. But as well, we have cultural losses. Why? Because people are going to for education and for work abroad. They change their life. They move from one country to another country, and somehow we mix the cultures. But in a way, we still lose part of our culture, mainly some of ancient traditional part of the culture that is not passed anymore to the young generation. And we have legal effects. Legal effects that also can play as an advantage and a disadvantage. And we talk about stable security, which right now, in my opinion, is under question. The stability, because as you know, right now we are facing a tremendous time in the global security, and we are very close to the hottest point, the war between Russia and Ukraine. As you see, we have good and we have negative things because you cannot have only pluses. You have all the time minuses as well. But you should be concerned about minuses and to try to reduce them. You can see that on the negative effects we have environmental damages, but this negative effect, I think that we can reduce easily if we stick together. So we have price. We can have fluctuation in prices, and this sometimes it is dangerous, because if there is any changes on the international market, it will reflect sooner or later on the national markets, and of course the one that are most exposed to this negative effect are the countries with low income. And we have chain effects, and these are also very dangerous, because something that happened in one country will be extended to the neighborhoods and to the other in a way, more or less. If we talk about ethics, we should think about from the origin of the ethics word. It came from Greece, ancient Greece. The word is ethikos, and is related with the character, and the root comes from ethos, that is moral nature of the human. Of course, it was transferred to Latin, and Romania, it's a Latin country, in etica, and then in French, éthique, and then into English, ethics. And of course, it has translated in all the countries, and I'm pretty sure that in every language we have somehow a word, a specific word that is pretty close to the general word of ethics. Why I want to mention this? Because ancient Greeks is known as the moment and the country that put on the table this idea of moral nature and the honesty. And also the Greeks are the founders of the Olympics. And the principle of the Olympics are that everyone is equal, everyone should access to the Olympics. Sports are free for everybody, and we are equal on the play field, and there are some words about the Olympics. They said that it's not important to win, it's important to compete. And I think that ethics is also related with this Olympics principle and behavior. We should consider and have in mind when we are talking about a few things. And of course, we have these three types of ethics: meta-ethics, normative ethics, and applied ethics. And we will talk mainly about applied ethics. you can see how many things are included in ethics. Integrity, morality, honesty, rights, fairness, honor, values. But one of the most important is, in my opinion, responsibility. Because if we have everything and we do not have responsibility towards what are we doing as individuals or as business managers or public managers as well, then it will be very hard to consider this one integrated in our behavior. Now, why did you become a vegetarian? Ethics. So do you think it's wrong for animals? I don't have anything with animals. But I hate plants. Then I eat them. Do you think that this is an ethic behavior? An ethic attitude? That's why somebody is playing with ethics and somebody is crushed by ethics. So you can choose how to deal with ethics. But even if you consider that you are very ethic, probably in a larger picture you are not. So we should be very careful how we put this ethics in the shape we are talking about. So coming to our closer subject, business ethics. Of course, everybody knows the definition, but I think the picture is quite representative. When we talk about money, can we be all the time ethic? And what means exactly business ethics? Is it ethic to use cheap labor force? Yes or no? Yes, from the perspective of the business owner, of business manager, yes, it is ethic because he will save the money, he will increase the business, but still it has an ethic component because he offers jobs. But how far I can go with this cheap labor? You know, it's a red line. From cheap labor to exploited the labor. So we have to be very careful to not cross this line. So at least the labor providers to get enough money to cover for their daily existence and to be a fair reward for their work. if we are talking about taking advantages, opportunities, I don't know if in your language you have the same situation, but um, in Romanian, when we say it about somebody, he has an opportunistic behavior. Is not necessary, is not a good thing. That means that it's a person that wants to take advantage of any occasion. So, but businesses are opportunistic by themselves. We are talking about business opportunities. So if I take advantage of a business opportunity on the market, I am still having an ethic behavior. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And also there is a line. And you will see in the cases we will talk about that it is very easy to cross that line. And you can find business ethics components. Part of the specialist considers that there are 8. The new principles of ethics are 12, and they add some others. And the last number I find is 15. But you saw that they have pretty much the same thing. And the responsibility, the accountability, the fairness, the respect, and the concern for others and respect for others. And as well, law abiding, because we have to respect the law, but we have also to consider transparency and responsibility and loyalty, and last but not least, environment protection, which becomes more and more one of our daily topic in not only in business but in all the socioeconomic debates. So, ethic or legal?
Miss, you want tahu bulat?
Is everything legal, ethical at the same time? It is legal to take a double price for something? Yes, it's illegal. If you have a customer, if you issue the invoice, if he paid the price, it's perfect legal. It is ethic, it is moral. Maybe yes, maybe no. Depends on the context. It is legal to see that people are suffering and you can give them drugs, sell them drugs, but you increase unnecessarily the prices just because you know they need it. this is not it, and this is not more, even if it is legal. It is legal to sell weapons. Yes, for governments, it is legal. Part of them is legal for the individuals as well, and for business companies specialized in this kind of business. But is it moral? Is it ethic? Yes, if the weapons are bought for defense, not for aggression. But who decide when I'm defending myself and when I aggress somebody else? So, of course, the ideal situation is to have only a legal and ethical behavior at the same time. But unfortunately, people are more sticked to legal because they have this legal regulation and the law that is, I think, at least in the 90% very clear, and they know exactly what is legal, what is not legal, and what is at the border. But in terms of ethics, we do not have very, very clear what is ethic and what is less ethic. Okay, global ethics. What we are thinking when we talk about global ethics. We think that the principles of ethics are considered and applied by everybody all around the world. Yes. If all of us understood and behave in an ethical way, then probably our life will be better. And I'm thinking about business, countries, people, environment. Because not all the time what is happened at the business level, it's is the same at the country level. What it is ethic, if we consider it as a national level, could not be ethic enough for individual businesses or for people or for environment. So if we are talking about global, we have to consider all of them and to see how we can balance and keep them in an integrated way. And we will start talking about a few cases. I consider that they are quite interesting for nowadays, and we can understand a little bit more about the challenges of the global ethics nowadays. And I will talk about COVID-19 pandemic. It starts in 2020 and it was finished in 2022. I write 2022, 2023 because actually in Europe it finished somehow in February 2022 because of the Russian-Ukrainian war. So in public debate, the war covered the pandemic, also the restrictions were cancelled, and we have some other hot point to focus on. So we are less concerned about pandemic. Also, the number of the infections are very few. So probably this was the real reason that we consider the pandemic it's over. But it looks like at the beginning of 2023, the World Health Organization decided that the pandemic it's over, so we can consider COVID-19 as a normal flu. The maps are January 2021 and March 2023. Number of vaccine doses administered for 100 people. What you can see, of course, the white areas are less information, so doesn't mean that they do not have vaccinate any person, but at least you can see that there are pretty the same areas that take use the vaccine. Also, Australia has a good rate, but Africa gets a lot of donation from EU, and also Canada. I don't know why they do not have in 2023 the figures. Maybe they don't have the updated. But we still can see that the developed countries, the most powerful countries, has a better access to the vaccine. And there are differences between poor countries and powerful countries to access to some resources. And what about EU? EU agreed to buy vaccine centralized in 2020. We decide to do so. And right now we have a lot of rumors of corruption. And we have lack of transparency. It is very frustrated for an European citizen pushed all the time with the role of transparency, governmental and administrative transparency, and everything, transparency, and the reports on transparency, and so on, to see the vaccine contract, which is 90% covered with black. So this lack of transparency is really a tough discussion in European Union right now. And to better understand, Romania decided to buy 120 million doses of vaccine for a population of less 20 million inhabitants. So 5 doses, more than 5 doses per person. Why? Who decided this? And we are fighting right now, and you will see here a lot of countries, mainly East European countries, that are claiming to cancel the contract and to not buy any more these vaccine doses that costs about 10 euro per doses to buy it and another 10 euro to destroy it when it expires. So there are millions and millions that are going there. And of course, for Romania, there are question marks about the ethics of these contracts. Why shall we spend such large amounts of money to buy and to destroy or to donate the vaccine doses and generate a lot of profit to the suppliers and not use this money for something else? Of course, a very nice and good behavior of European Union was to donate 700 million doses of COVID to countries in need and less affordability. Okay, this is okay, but I honestly prefer to know from the beginning that we need, I don't know, 100 million doses for our people, and we buy more 20 million to be donated. This is more ethical in terms of transparency and in terms of informing the citizen, and more than this, we are the contributors. So European Union do not generate income. The European Union budget is from the country contribution, and the country contribution are from public money. The public money, in a way, are my money too, because a lot of my wages is going in different kind of taxes. So that's why I claim transparency and I claim ethics in the public spending when it is done. Of course, the advantage to do it centralized, because we are talking also about globalization, to do it centralized in terms of business, of course, means that we had a better power of negotiation, because it is a very large contract for 5 years, and of course we can expect that the price was less than if we negotiate separately. But nobody knows exactly. So you can see how the ethics, maybe it was, maybe there was not corruption in this contract. Maybe everything it's okay, but still there are question marks just because less transparency. And I put on the last point, the decision of President Joe Biden to sign the law to declassify the documents about COVID-19 virus and the place and how it appears in our lives. Okay. This is a very important issue because there are a lot of discussions about this virus. And let's see. One question is, the virus is natural or not? And if it is an artificial virus, it was released from Wuhan laboratory or not? Honestly, almost the opinions in EU is that the virus is not a natural one. At least is a virus that was worked on in laboratories, and perhaps it was dropped out from Wuhan laboratory. We don't know if it was an intention or if it was accidentally. The problem is that from this question mark, there are a lot of other questions. Why Wuhan laboratory were conducting experiments with this kind of viruses? Are similar laboratories that are doing researches in very dangerous viruses? But I can extend this question. Not only viruses. And if there are, because there are information that we have in the world, plenty of this kind of laboratories. And as academics and as people that we are dealing with research, I cannot blame the researchers that they want to study and they want to try to develop different kinds of things. The problem is these researches are related with biological weapons or are only biological researches. I don't, and here we have a very, very big question mark about ethics. Is it ethic to study viruses? In my opinion, yes, of course, because studying them, we can develop vaccines or drugs or antidotes or whatever. We can treat the disease. We can also protect ourselves from diseases and so on. So since all this activity stays on the benefit of the people and the results are openly presented to everyone, and transparency, and we have a transparency about what things are studied and what are the findings. Of course, not the chemical formula for a drug, or because these are absolutely secret, and of course the money for the research are coming from companies and from governments, and they want to get back these investments through the producing this kind of antidotes or whatever treatments. This is also understandable that you will not freely display everything, but at least we should know what we are studying, and to be very careful to keep this on the benefit of the people. Because if the money are going for researches in biological weapons, and these accidents can anytime happen, and you see that all of us suffer for about 2 years. We have to take vaccines. There are a lot of discussions. We have to stay at home. Economies are suffering. People are suffering. Then we have a very big problem of ethics. And here we have at least 3 components. We have governments, we have business environment, and we have individuals. And I think that this time individuals should push a little bit to claim and ask for more responsibility and more transparency from the governments and business companies involved in this kind of businesses. So the other questions that rise in the COVID crisis: did the big pharma knows about these researches? Probably yes. Because all the time people are going shoulder by shoulder. And we can extend it in IT if you want. We develop a virus, we have an antivirus for our computer. We develop a program, we develop how to crack it. We develop an apps, we develop some other thing to block it or to improve it. This is also in health issue, but it's not only a health issue. All the time, we will have the first step and the second step. Did they develop the vaccine before? And why we decide. One question mark in Europe is why we decide to buy vaccine for 5 years. What somebody knows and we don't know. And it's also a matter of ethics. If they know, and finally, is the question of the non-ethical agreements over our heads. And remember at the beginning of my presentation that I talk about Davos and G7 and G9 and others. Can I put a question mark on the ethics of these global networks and global decision makers if they are ethical? Because based on the information we have right now about COVID-19, we can think about that there were people that knows what will happen, what is working on. And actually they release, you saw that one question was that if it was accidentally or not. So we cannot say that if they release this virus to see how the people at the global level will act, I don't think it's a normal way to approach. And I can post this question mark on this management. Okay. So we still have some other things. Slide effects. There don't know. Have we been manipulated? Nobody knows. There are hidden goals of the authorities. Also, nobody knows exactly, and probably we will not know too soon who won, who lost. And the question is this the first brick on the new global order? Maybe. Is it ethic? Maybe not. The third case is about trade and transport. And I will be very fast because I think that my time is almost over. Okay, so very, very fast. 2025, 2019, this is how it looks, the general trade. And you can see that we have very huge trades between USA and EU, China and EU. What we expect in 2023, a direct enormous change between the USA and China. What we are having now, an enormous trade between China and EU and the USA, and without European Union, which as an European, I don't think it's very ethical, but this is it. But the most important is that this reflects the polarization in the global world. The two poles, and of course, my case study is about the transport in Black Sea, because the Black Sea and Constanța Harbor, it's an important point, but I will not stay too much. The problem is that in this competition between US and China, what will be our position as small countries? How we can deal with this? The European Union, we can consider Romania as a country, or we can consider European Union. But even so, the European Union, in my opinion, is a middle power and not so strong to stay between or to get some advantages. I think that we will. There are plenty risks to be crushed if the things are going in a worse scenario. What we have new agreements done by the European Union. So when we saw how the things are planned to go, then we try to adapt ourselves. And of course, here we can have also very strong debate. Is it or is it not ethic? But at least we try to save our advantages, and in trade, you should have at least good prices and access to the commodities. And Europe, at that moment, looks that will be between the two parties. Right now, we decide to be on one party. And I'm afraid about the relation with China, and if China will create a second political pole, this will influence the trade as well. And of course, the Ukraine-Russia war and the Black Sea blockade, that tremendously influence our situation. And we have Black Sea; it's a playfield right now for the war. Poland, Romania, Bulgaria, agriculture was affected by the grain exports from Ukraine. We help Ukraine to take out from their country the grains and to export them. And finally, all these three countries. And finally, a lot of grain was sold on our market, and our producers cannot compete with the low price that Ukrainian offers. So we have a lot of problem. So EU allocates 56 million compensation, and they split it in this way: 30 for Poland, 10 for Romania, 15 for Bulgaria. And it's a huge scandal about the algorithm of this distribution, because Bulgaria gets 60% more than Romania, but they have half of the production than Romania. And also the difference from Romania to Poland is not 3 times, but this also, it's a problem of ethics at the European Union level. And we also have another scandal about Ukraine digging the Bystre and the Kuliah channel to make them navigable for the big vessels as an alternative to a Black Sea exit. And this put under the question mark the Danube Delta, which is an old heritage site. And this is an ethical issue, a global ethical issue, because Danube Delta is unique in the world, and it's related with the environmental protection. I said that is one of the new element in business ethics. So, are they entitled to destroy the Danube Delta just to have transport and trade advantage? Yes or no? I think no, and this is a high question mark on the ethic behavior of Ukraine in this situation. Okay. Very, very fast. We are passing an energy crisis. Maybe you know, just saw the figures. 800 billion euro compensation in Europe, in EU, for the prices in energy generated by the war. Liquefied US natural gases exports. Can you see them? About who won? Is this ethic? Is due to the war. But in my opinion, it's a bigger fight. And of course, European Union start repower Europe, diversifying, saving, accelerating the energy. And another example is food crisis. We generated 60% increase in food prices in March 22 compared with March 2020. So a lot of crises, a lot of issues we have to deal with, and think about what is ethic and what is not in our behavior. And come back to the values and think which is the thinner, which is the most vulnerable. And I said, in my opinion, responsibility and transparency. And maybe concern for others and respect for others. And we have governments, business, and individual, and we have to think about strategies from global to national to corporate. If we and integrate this ethic behavior from the big one to the small one, and from the small one to the big one. And what individuals are looking for global ethics, but they mean a lot of in global ethics. And come back to the solution. American announced, and everybody waits for the announcements from America. I don't know why, because sometimes things are obvious. They declare 2023 the first year of the new world order, new global order. The problem is the next decades will be ethics or not? I think it depends on us. If we fight for our rights, if we fight for moral thinking and behavior, then we have a chance. Questions?
Okay, Prof. Adriana, it's very, very interesting topics, yeah, for ethics. So, maybe you can see in the chat room, you have you have many questions from the participant. Yeah. So,
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah, that's that shows
Wow.
how interested your topic is, yeah, for today. So maybe from some of the question, I can what is it? I can summarize some of the question. Yeah. So
Okay, if Felice, I think
yeah.
you should save them.
Yeah, I'll save them, and maybe it's a homework for you, Prof. Adriana, to,
Yes.
to answer it one by one.
And yes, maybe we can have a debate in May.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we can open a public debates or seminar, yeah, in May, face to face, yeah. For
Yeah.
all of the participants here, Professor Adriana will visit us on 2 May, yeah. I think you have already
Yes,
been
we
here
are
2 May, or
leaving
you...
on 2 May, 2nd May, and we are arriving on 3rd.
Yeah. Okay. Professor Adriana will visit us on around 3rd May. Yeah. Maybe we can have an offline discussion. Yeah, about this topic. Yeah. But for today, maybe I will summarize some of the question. This is from Jesslyn Elen Saputra, Sylvie Sucipto, Melissa Elizabeth. Yeah, I will summarize all of your question. Yeah, actually, they are agree that we should have global ethics that should be applied by everyone. But since ethics can be analyzed from many perspectives and many cultures, who will set the line between ethical and non-ethical behavior. That's the first one. Who will set the line between, okay, your what are you doing is ethical and this one is not. Yeah. And the second, how can we ensure that the perspective agreed is beneficial for every party involved? Yeah, I think that's the summary of the 3 questions. Yeah, from Jesslyn, Sylvie, and Melissa.
Yes, it is very hard, and I think that nobody is entitled to set the red line between ethical and not ethical. Everyone, when he takes a decision, should think about if his decision is ethical or not, and from what perspective. Because the second question is this is one of the most difficult issue. It's very hard to be ethic from all the perspectives. But what we have to think about is that put them in a puzzle, put all the perspectives on the table, and probably it is impossible to calculate, but at least estimate the damages you can generate, and choose the solution that creates less damages and hurts less the people and the environment. What is most important, a business or hurting people? If you think in this way, then you can probably adjust your decision accordingly. So these two questions are very, very difficult, and I think there is not right or wrong answer, and probably just some idea of answer, because yes, that is very hard to be ethical and to have an ethical behavior, because all the time you will choose your perspective. But in my opinion, the first step is give a chance to other perspective as well, and then probably you can adjust your decision accordingly. Other question?
Okay, so I will move to the next question, Professor Adriana. This is from Adventia, yeah. And I'm sure the question from Adventia is representing most all of the business from the business perspective, yeah. Is there any benefit for a company if it chooses to prioritize ethics consideration in its every business decision? Because being ethical is quite hard to do, yeah. And even in the empirical or in the real world, yeah, we business have to deal with cost, profit, revenue, and so on. And maybe being ethical costs us more, yeah, than those who are not being ethical in the business activity. So, is it really beneficial from the business perspective to prioritize ethics consideration, Professor Adriana?
Depends if you are thinking on a short time or a long time. On long time, I think that it's beneficial to have an ethical behavior, even if it's more expensive. Of course, this decision is hard to be taken if you are fighting for survive in terms of business. And it's easier for the big company to implement the ethical behavior and consideration because they have resources. But I'm not so confident that they are doing it for real. They probably implement somehow some things more for their image, not for the real business. The main concern is for the small and medium businesses. They do not have enough resources. They are all the time fighting for surviving. And of course, it's harder to implement this consideration. But I think that they are more ethical than the others because they are built in a special way. Of course, part of them are absolutely unethical and opportunistic. So this is the examples I give. Also during COVID, there were I don't know, different kind of persons that open small businesses and make a lot of money just selling with a very high price masks and some other protection stuff because it was a lack on the market. But this is what we have to blame. You see, you should take advantage on the market, but not in this way to let's say take advantage on the price situation in making more money than you are usually entitled to make. So on the long term, I think that people that are having an ethic behavior and keep their business in a certain line will succeed. They will not become billionaires.
In a short term, maybe not. Yeah, surely not in a short term.
Surely not in a short term, but probably either in a long term. But at least they will have a good
sleep.
A good sleep and a good name and a good brand and the consideration of their customer and end user. So depends how ethical it's your goal and your mission. So if we start from the mission vision of the company, then depends who set up the mission and the vision. And if they are on an put on an ethical framework, then I'm sure that everything goes well.
And that's also the tips for the students, yeah, Prof. Adriana. So they have to choose who will be their employer. Yeah.
Yes.
Because sometimes employee have a pressure, yeah, for the top, yeah, to do what the boss says. So
yes, the personal will be quite a potential crisis in the near future, because people and a lot of people are looking for right now for more than wages, and probably they will contribute to reshape the business ethics too, because they want more than wages. They want to have a kind of climate. They want to be sure that what they are doing it's it's used in an ethical way. And I think that if you want to attract, because it will be a fight for the high skilled personnel. And if you are looking for high skilled personnel and you want to have them in your company, then you should consider this ethical issue as well.
Okay, so there are so many questions left, but we have a very limited time. Yeah, unfortunately. Thank you for all of the participants. Maybe some of your questions have already been answered, yeah, by our discussion. So, since the time is up, yeah, unfortunately, we have to end the international guest lecturer today. Thank you very much, Professor Adriana, for your time, yeah, and for your sharing ideas, yeah, for us. Maybe we can have another meetings, yeah, for May, yeah. So the student can ask you face to face, yeah, when you are arriving in our campus.
Yes. Thank you for inviting me. I'm impressed. I saw that there are more than 200 participants. And I hope the number of questions is kind of a good feedback. That means that I really put on the table some questions, and they seems to be interested in. And I will be delighted to have a meeting in person with you in May, and to have a free discussion. If you want, in smaller groups, or I don't know how we can organize it, or only with the one that wants to pose questions and to debate on this subject. I will be available for you during my stay in Indonesia. Thank you again for this invitation. Unfortunately, I thought that the time is I have a lot of time, but seems that time is running very fast. I hope that my ideas brings to your attention some questions we are facing right now, and maybe we can find some, at least part of the answers, and try to build a better environment for all of us.
Okay, thank you, Professor Adriana.
Thank you very much.
For the next session is we have to take a picture. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So everybody, please open your camera so we can take picture together. Yeah. Thank you very much for all of the participants today. You are very active. And I'm sure that me, Puhastuti, Pudiano, Bu Risanti, yeah, we really appreciate for your active participation, yeah, in this discussion. Yeah, that's all we hope for. Yeah. Okay. Maybe Adrian, you can lead us for the picture section.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, I will